The spring 2026 anime season was really pretty good, and in amongst a few fantastic returning seasons, like a couple of my favorite isekai, both the Slime Isekai and ReZero, because I like being sad for the latter one, apparently. There was also the premiere of Witch Hat Atelier, which is an anime about a world in which magic is entirely art and written down with different symbols and things like that. It's very cool. Of the characters in that anime, the one that most people are drawn to, or at least most people want to talk about, is Qifrey, which is a white-haired wizard. It's basically magical Gojo from Jujutsu Kaisen, in case he wasn't already magical enough for you. Big Hat Gojo is a great character with some really cool magical abilities and a specific focus on water magic, and I thought it would be fun to do a D&D build for him so that you too can play him if you would like to in D&D. Hello, my name is Jason and this is the Dungeon Himbo, where I talk about all kinds of stuff, mostly focused on third-party bits and bobs, and occasionally chucking things in like why you should kill your players. The characters, not your players. They deserve to live. Before we get into the whole shtick of the build itself, let's talk a little bit about Qifrey. Qifrey is another classic white-haired anime dude, of which we've seen a lot, frankly. It's a fairly common trope, and following in the legends of Gojo from JJK, as I previously said, and the old lady from Dandadan, he is a powerhouse of a character as well. He is a water magic user, not because he loves water, but because he fears it, and I find that absolutely fascinating. With that out of the way, let us get into the build, shall we? We are going with the scribe background. I think it fits as well as any can for the more artistic take on magic in the world of Witch Hat Atelier. It also gives us a lot of really useful stuff, like calligrapher's supplies, which are obviously incredibly fitting, along with investigation and perception, which are always useful, the skilled origin feat, which allows us to pick up acrobatics, arcana, and stealth, all of which fit Qifrey even in the first episode that he is introduced in, and also good stats as well, with dexterity +1 or intelligence +2. If you are allowed to customize your background, it's probably worth considering getting con instead of dex there as your +1, but even without that, this is still a solid stat spread, as we will be having 8 strength, 16 dex, 15 con, 17 intelligence, 8 wisdom, and 8 charisma. I feel bad dumping his wisdom and charisma, but point by. I don't know what else to say about it. Qifrey is a human, undoubtedly, which gives us the skillful ability, so we're going to pick up history, because it's another fitting one for wizards in general, along with another origin feat, and I've gone for the unreflected one from Crooked Moon. This is because Qifrey is a big fan of wiping the memories of people that meet him as well, and this feels like a good fit for that. This gives creatures disadvantage again on any insight checks made against you, and it also allows you to hide in amongst a group of creatures who are of a similar size and shape to you as well, which is fantastic. For the class here, we are entirely wizard, through and through. No multi-classing shenanigans. I haven't even taken fighter, which is nice. It's nice to do a straight wizard build. They are fun. I picked up I picked up medicine and religion as our abilities here at level 1. We get spell casting, which gives us cantrips. A spell book gives us the ability to learn 2 new spells every time we level up, as well as copying new spells from scrolls into our spellbook. And we can change our prepared spells on a long rest. Intelligence is our spell casting modifier, and we can use our arcane focus or spellbook as our spell casting focus as well. Along with that, we get Ritual Adept, which means we can cast any spells with the ritual tag even if we don't have them prepared. This is a huge boost to the wizard's utility overall, and it just means you don't have to prepare things like Find Familiar, which is great. We also get Arcane Recovery at level 1, which allows us to, when we have a short rest, choose to restore some slots equal to no more than half our wizard level rounded up, and none of the slots can be level 6 or higher. It's a useful feature for sure. Spell-wise, I am going to recommend picking up Shape Water. Shape Water is a transmutation cantrip, which allows us to muck around with water in general, very fitting. Water Whip, which is from Heliana's Guide to Monster Hunting Part 1, which allows us to make a melee spell attack within 30 feet of any body of water, and the water itself attacks the person and pulls them towards it. It's a bit like Thorn Whip, which is great. And Prestidigitation. because if he's scared of water, he needs a way to stay clean and not smelly. That's my logic anyway. For our first level spells, I recommend picking up Find Familiar. Obviously, it's a banger, and Owl's a classic, but you could always reshape that, reflavor that as being a quill or something else if you want to keep it to Qifrey's general vibe. I recommend Water Bullet, which is from the Obejima book. This allows you to yeet out a water bullet, and the closer you are to the enemy you're hitting, the more damage it does. So within 10 feet it does 5d6, within 11 to 60 feet it does 4d6, and within 61 and 90 feet it does 3d6 too. It's just a cool concept for a spell, and again, very fitting. I also recommend picking up because not being obliterated is good, actually, and absorb elements. Shield might also be a good choice here. We're going to pick up Shield at level 2, along with Fog Cloud for our level 1 spells, to round those out, but I like absorb elements quite a lot. It's a really good one for staying alive, and as a wizard you shouldn't be anywhere near opponents anyway, not if you can help it. Level 2 we get Scholar, which allows us to get expertise in a skill, gone for Arcana obviously, and we get the 2 level 1 spells I already mentioned. Surprisingly easy. Fog Cloud I've gone for A, it's fitting, and B, obscuring can be really powerful depending on how you use it. We then hit level 3, and while Scribes is extraordinarily tempting because of its focus on scribing, I think we can be slightly more interesting with the third-party one. So I've gone for the Cthulhu by Torchlight option, which is the Fancy Wizard. This reads, a spellbook is a wizard's prized possession. Even the least experienced apprentice knows that each spell's formula must be carefully recorded, understood, and memorized to cast a spell properly. This, I think, fits Qifrey's general perfectionist vibe and the level of care which he takes in his spell casting. It's also just a cool subclass. This nets us the book learning feature, even. You have an arcane connection to all books, be they tablets or tomes, allowing you to unravel their secrets. If you touch an object containing a script for 1 minute, you learn a basic working knowledge of the script's contents unless the information is hidden by a code or cipher. If the book or script is a magic item or magical object, you learn its properties and how to use it, whether it requires attunement, how many charges it has, if any. You learn whether any ongoing spells are affecting the item and what they are. If the item was created by a spell, you learn that spell's name. You're real good with books. You also get Edit Spell, which is really the exciting one here. Essentially, in your spellbook, you can choose a spell which is level 1 or higher, and you can give it one or more of the following benefits. You can increase the DC of it by 1, which is a no-brainer if you're doing something with a save. If the spell deals damage, you can change the damage type to one of your choice. We are obviously going to go for cold. There is not a water damage, so we're going to go for cold a lot of the time. And if the spell requires a saving throw, we can target intelligence. Intelligence is one of the best saving throws to target in 5.5e. Insight Check did a fantastic video on it, which I will link to in the description, and is actually it's his numbers I'm using to figure out how to work out the average damage here as well. So being able to change it to cold and increase the DC and an intelligence save just keeps us well ahead of the game in terms of how effective our spells are. You can also change the name of the spell if you do this. They give the example of if you're doing Burning Hands, but it makes cold damage and it's an intelligence save, you might call it Mind Freeze. So you get to be as creative, Mushroom, you get to be as creative as you like when you're putting these spells and editing them. We of course also get level 2 spells here. Our level 2 spells between level 3 and level 4 here. We're going to start off with Scorching Ray because it's nice to have an attack based one at this point. It's just very good. We can also change it to Blast Cannon in honor of Blastoise if we make it cold, which is super fun. I also recommend picking up Misty Step. Misty is water-based, so it's fitting thematically. It's a bit of a stretch, but I think it works. And then at level 4, I recommend picking up Mirror Image, which is Mirror Image. You probably know what Mirror Image does. And Encase in Ice, which might be one you don't know. This is from the Northlands World book, and it reads, a crashing wave of water fills a 20-foot square on the ground you can see within range. The water instantly freezes in place, and each creature in the area can make a throw. On a failed save, you can make that intelligence as well if you want to. On a failed save, a creature's legs are trapped in the ice and it has the restrained condition until the spell ends. A creature with the restrained condition can use an action and an athletics check against your spell save DC to end the condition on a success, and another creature can take the help action to attempt to free the target as well. Creatures not in the spell's area when you cast it treat the area as difficult terrain. A creature is not restrained by ice if it enters the area or ends its turn there, but it must succeed on a dex save or have the prone condition, which is All very cool. Along with that, if you use a 3rd level spell slot or higher, it also traps their arms, meaning they cannot take an attack or cast spells as somatic opponents. And if you use a 5th level spell, they get completely and utterly covered in ice and also take damage potentially. So it's just a cool one to scale up. Also at level 4, obviously, we get an ability score improvement, and I am going to take Elemental Adept, with it being the cold version and boosting our intelligence to 18. This allows us to ignore resistance to the damage type of the chosen type, and when we cast a spell, when roll damage for the spell, any 1s can be treated as a 2 on the damage die. So it gives us a little bit of consistency bump, but I'm not going to worry about that when doing the DPR. Level 5 sees us getting 3rd level spells, which we'll get to in a minute. Also gives us Memorize Spell, which allows us on a short rest to replace one of our spells, basically with another spell we know. We are going for 2 3rd level spells to begin with. I recommend Fireball, which we can change to Water Eruption to do cold damage to fit our general vibe, and also be an intelligence save and be a harder save to make as well. And I also really like Tidal Wave here. You'll see that's always prepared. That's because of stuff we're doing later. Don't worry about it. Tidal Wave is from the Elemental Evil player's companion. I don't think it's one a lot of people tend to use. You conjure up a wave of water that crashes down on an area within range. It can be up to 30 feet long, up to 10 feet wide, and up to 10 feet tall, so you can be quite specific with it. Each creature in the area must make a dex saving throw, and on a failure, they take 48 bludgeoning damage and are knocked prone. On a success, they just take half as much damage. The water then splashes all around. It's very fitting thematically, so, that's always nice. At level 6, I'm just going to go over our other 3rd level spells quickly. I recommend picking up Haste and Fly for reasons you'll understand at level 6. But before we do that, I want to go over the DPR that we are doing, the damage. So the way that I normally do this now is I assume an enemy AC of 15. Instead, I am assuming the intelligence save based on Insight Check's video, as I said, which means that creatures have an 85% chance of failing the intelligence save needed against our spells, because they need a 16 or higher because of our intelligence score and also our boosting up of the spell save DC using the edit spell, which means that our damage, assuming we're against 2 creatures, which is what I'm going to be assuming for the AoE ones, is going to be 61.2 average, which is very good. Wizards are quite strong, as it turns out. Just a quick jump in before we continue on the rest of the build. I want to give a huge thank you to my YouTube members and my Patreon members as well. It means a huge amount that you support me. I don't really understand why, but thank you. For the YouTube, you get a little Discord area in the Discord, which is also linked below, and for Patreon you get access to a bunch of extra stuff. I've put my homebrew there. I'm adding homebrew there here and there when I get a chance, and I've also started Jason's journal, because it's a campaign diary and it felt like a fitting thing to do, and I'll put other stuff there as well as and when I get the chance, although you can get all of that as a free member too. Anyway, back to the build. At level 6, along with the spells I mentioned, we're going to also get Weaver of Words, which gives us all languages, which is cool. It's just cool. Hard to argue with. Level 7 gives us 4th level spells and nothing else. While you could take Conjure Minor Elementals and pair that with Scorching Ray for some pretty impressive single target damage, I want to avoid doing that because I do it a lot and I don't like the spell, frankly. I like it from a DPS standpoint. I don't like it from a anything else standpoint. So instead, we are going to take Control Water, which is intensely fitting, obviously, which allows us to control a water in an area that you choose up to 100 feet on a side to flood the area, part the water, redirect the water, or whirlpool the water. It's very specific because you need water there, but it's a nice one thematically. I'm also going to go for Summon Elemental, which we will be using from here on as our concentration spell. This allows us to summon an elemental creature. We will be taking a water version, which has a swim speed, among other things. It gets 2 attacks at level 4, spell level 4, as it has multi-attack equal to half the number of the spell's level, half the level of the spell, there we go, and its attack does a respectable 1d10 plus 4 plus the spell's level in damage as cold damage too, which is cool. I don't know if you should... Technically, this is a spell doing damage, even though it's a creature doing damage. It was from a spell. I would allow Elemental to Adept to work with this, but you will probably need to talk to your DM about the specifics. It's a little wibbly. The Elemental gives us not only an extra body on the field, which is always good, but also more focused single target damage. Unfortunately, the Water Elemental deals cold damage but gets resistance to acid damage instead of cold damage. I don't really understand why. I guess it's because you can freeze water, but feels a bit of a pull to me. At level 8, other 2 spells, I recommend picking up Wall of Fire, so we can change it to Wall of Water, and then another spell of your choice, basically. Whatever it is you fancy. I like Storm Door. It's quite fitting. It's a big teleport that allows you to do it constantly as a bonus action, but pick your favorite, really. We will get into pick your favorite territory fairly often with the spells. Level 8, we also get a chance for another feat, and we're taking a Northlands feat again. We are taking the Ice Mastery feat. This is an upgrade to the Elemental Adept feat, as long as you have it with the cold spells. It allows us to boost our intelligence to 19, which is always good. And it also gives us the ability to imbue our cold spells with the strength of Fimbulwinter, which is sick. Whenever you deal cold damage to a creature with a spell with at least a level of 1, you can choose to add additional effects to the creature. Gains disadvantage on dexterity checks for a minute as the terrible cold numbs its body. The creature is coated in ice, which gives it the restrained condition until it succeeds on a dexterity saving throw to free itself, a spell save DC, or takes at least 10 points of bludgeoning or fire damage, which is cool, and it can make the save at the end of each of its turns. Or you can give the creature vulnerability to cold damage for a minute, but it has to make a con save to end the effect at the end of each of its turns. You can do this a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, and you regain all uses on a long rest. This allows you to, in essence, turn your watery explosion into everybody's vulnerable to cold damage now, which makes your elemental attacks a lot better, and also any follow-up attacks if they happen to fail the save. It's just fantastic, and I'm really annoyed they didn't do one for every element. They only did one for, I believe it was cold and lightning. But hey, we can't have everything. Level 9, we get 5th level spells, which is always a big level for everyone involved. We're going to take Cone of Cold, of course. It's a 60-foot cone originating from you. It does a con save, but we can change that to an intelligence save. 8d8 cold damage on a failed save, or half as much on a successful one. Along with that, we're going to take Modify Memory, because it's something that Qifrey does. It allows you to change the memories of a creature, and they basically can't get it back without a Remove Curse or Greater Restoration. At level 10, we're going to take 2 more level 5 spells. I've gone for Submerge. This creates a magical link between a body of water within range and another body of water at any location within 500 miles on the same plane of existence. You must have seen or touched the destination body of water once before. For the duration, any creature that steps into the target body of water will exit on the other side by using 5 feet of movement. Both bodies must be large. It's basically a water portal. It's very cool. If the body of water isn't large enough for a creature to submerge itself, there's a 25% chance that the creature exits from a random body of water on the same plane of existence. So do be careful with that. I'm also going to take Whiteout, which is also from the Northlands book. This can only be cast outside and ends if you go inside. Its concentration for up to a minute. We're still going to be using Summon Elemental though for damage, just as a FYI. When you cast the spell, you create a 20-foot radius sphere of heavy fog and flurrying snow, which follows you around. The sphere is heavily obscured, and the terrain within it is difficult terrain. Any creature that begins its turn in the sphere or enters the sphere on its turn must make a con save or receive 1 exhaustion level. Creatures that have resistance or immunity to cold damage succeed on this automatically, and when you cast the spell, you can designate a number of creatures equal to your spell casting modifier that do not get the exhaustion. When the spell ends, all of that effect disappears, including the exhaustion levels, but not if they've hit 6, because the creature will cease to be. Also at level 10, we get customized spell. This is the reason we took Haste and Fly earlier. Customized spell reads, you can alter the structure of a spell to incorporate a creature's name. Pick a spell in your spellbook that has a verbal component and requires concentration, and is level 1 or above. When you prepare that spell, you can name a specific willing creature other than yourself. If that creature is the only target of the spell, you can cast it on them without needing to maintain concentration. Haste has a verbal component and also targets 1 creature. Fly has a verbal component and also targets 1 creature. We can now cast those on someone for free. Being able to cast concentration-free haste on your fighter is fantastic, so do that. My assumption for damage here is that the enemies have an average intelligence save of 0.7, which is really not great for them. We are modifying Cone of Cold to make it an intelligence save and make the DC slightly higher as well, and we're still using our Summon Elemental to hit things. I've not factored in vulnerability, but theoretically you could very easily do that to double the elemental's damage. The elemental will be doing 14.35 points of damage on average, while your Cone of Cold will be doing 57.6 points of damage on average against 2 creatures. It is good stuff. We appreciate it. The total damage there is 71.95, which is not that much of a boost, above level 5, just because Colony of Cold doesn't do that much more damage than Fireball against 2 creatures, but they've also got slightly better saves as well, so that all factors in, basically. Level 11, we get 6th level spells. We're going to take Chain Lightning, which we could theoretically change to a water spell, and also Crustacean Form. Chain Lightning is in the player's handbook, allows you to launch a lightning bolt towards a target you can see within range. 3 bolts leap to as many as 3 other targets of your choice, each of which must be within 30 feet of the first target. A target can be a creature or an object and can be targeted by only one of the bolts. Each creature makes an intelligence, a dexterity save, but it can be an intelligence save, taking 10d8 lightning damage on a failed save or half as much on a successful one. If you upcast it, you get an additional bolt, but no extra damage. This is a good spell to customize for sure, so if you want to make it cold and an intelligence save and up the DC, that's really going to hit hard. Crustacean Form is my other choice, and it's just sort of funny. You create a large ethereal crustacean form around your body, which protects and aids you in combat. For the duration, your AC becomes 20, if it wasn't already higher. You gain a swim speed of 40 feet, blind sight out to a range of 30 feet, and you can use a bonus action to hit with your claws. Additionally, your ethereal shell has a damage threshold of 15 points, which means that any damage below that doesn't hurt you at all, and any damage above that gets reduced by 15, which is pretty cool. We only want to be using that if we're really worried about getting finished off, but it's nice to have. At level 12, for our other 6th level spells, while we're in the area, I recommend Mass Suggestion, which allows you to give 25 words or less to 12 or fewer creatures you can see within range that can hear and understand you, to give them a bunch of instructions, like walk towards the sunset, as one of my players have done. The duration of Mass Suggestion is 24 hours, so they will be doing that for that period of time. I also like Wall of Ice, for obvious reasons. Lets us be a bit more defensive too, and theoretically damage people using the icy part of that. Also at level 12, we get another ability score increase. We're going to go for Warcaster to make our concentration a lot better, because we don't have great con generally, so having advantage on those saves is going to be a big deal. We can also cast a spell as a reaction, which is very, very nice if that is something you want to do. It means a player can run past you and you can cast haste on them if they're the named player. Also means our intelligence is 20 now, which we love to see. Level 13, we get 7th level spells. At level 7, I recommend Prismatic Spray and Power Word Shield. Power Word Shield is from Heliana's Guide to Monster Hunting Part 2, and you can actually take this to protect anybody, including yourself. Until the end of its next turn, the creature gets immunity to all damage types except Psychic, gets advantage on saving throws, and all other Power Word spells have no effect on it. If the creature is poisoned, the condition is removed. If the creature is aflame, the fires are extinguished. A Prismatic Spray allows you to roll a d8 and then you choose different rays to do different things. It can do fire damage, acid damage, lightning damage, poison damage, cold damage, restrain someone and potentially petrify them, and blind someone as well. I don't know how that interacts with changing the damage type. Please talk to your DM. I'm just a little guy. For the other 7th level spell at level 14, this would be, I want to take Summon Leviathan Avatar. This is only useful in the water. It's an incredibly cool summon, as it can make 3 attacks at this level. 1d10 plus 5 plus the spell's level in piercing damage, and it can also roar to frighten creatures, which is nice. But it is only really good in the water. So, yeah, niche. Niche but fitting, I think. Also at level 14, we get our final subclass ability, which is Master of Words. This allows us to, when you prepare spells, pick 2 spells from between levels 1 and 5 to weave into a linked, powerful spell you can prepare as a single spell. The level of the linked spell is equal to the combined level of the 2 spells and can't exceed 6. The chosen spells must have a verbal component and have a casting time of 1 action. As a magic action, you can cast the linked spell, and both spell effects occur at the same time. Because you create a new spell, you can use this with the level 10 customized spell feature to create Dave's Haste and Flying, for example, which allows you to give a creature both haste and flying without maintaining concentration on it. You could also use it to do a bunch of damage stuff. Fireball and something that isn't fireball. I can't think of anything. Why can't I think of any other spells? Either way, no matter how you use this, it is an incredibly cool ability, and really the sky's the limit when it comes to creativity here. I just like the idea of hasting and flying someone. Level 15, we get 8th level spells. I am going to go for Clone, because Clone's a classic, and Incendiary Cloud, because we can make it cold damage, which is a swirling cloud of embers that fills a 20-foot radius sphere on a point within range. It's heavily obscured and it drifts around, dealing 10d8 fire damage, or cold damage for us. It's a cool damaging spell. We're not going to be using it, though. We're going to be still using the Cone of Cold for now, because it's good. What can I say? The enemies now have an intelligence save of +3, but our intelligence is maxed, so it helps offset that a fair bit. Our proficiency bonus has also gone up, which means that our average damage between the Cone of Cold and the Summon Elemental will be 115.10, which is very respectable. Level 16, pick whatever spells you want. We're very much in PYF territory here. For the feat, I recommend Resilient Constitution. Qifrey is not one to falter in the face of things that are scary, and also it's nice to have proficiency in Constitution and also up our Constitution to 16, so it's an all-round good choice. Level 17, we get 9th level spells. There are 2 choices I've taken here. Blade of Disaster, which is a bonus action to cast and does a bunch of damage, but obviously we can only cast one 9th level spell, so it really has to be Meteor Swarm, which is going to be our damaging spell of choice from here on out. It is the de facto best choice if damage is your concern, and that is when it's a dex save, and it isn't a dex save for us anymore, it's an intelligence save, and it can do cold damage for both parts of the damage as well, which means we're doing 40d6 cold damage, with every single one becoming a 2, which is a notable boost in damage at that point. I said that and then I did the maths. It's an average of 6.66666 more damage across 40d6. But hey, it's something. We can also call it something like Cataclysmic Hailstorm, and that makes the edgy little emo in my heart very happy. Level 18, you can gain complete mastery over 2 spells, allowing you to cast them at their lowest level without expending a spell slot all the time. We're taking Mage Armor and Mirror Image to buff our defense and also make us even harder to hit. Mirror Image is great. There are a lot of creatures with True Sight at this point and Blind Sight, but it's still worth having, I think. But you can choose whatever you want, because it's any level 1 or 2 spell. Level 19, I'm going to take the Boon of Fortune's Favour to allow us to reroll a saving throw once per turn, which can be a Constitution saving throw for a concentration check, making us even more effective at saving against those. It also allows us to boost our intelligence to 21. And then finally, at level 20, we get signature spells, which is Tidal Wave and Haste for us. We can cast them for free once per short or long rest, basically. The average intelligence save at this point is +4, but our DC save is, I think, 21 or 20. It's pretty high. I should know that off the top of my head, but I don't. Here we are. It's very warm. We can also concentrate on both haste and fly on someone without actually concentrating on it, so I think we can take some credit for the damage they're doing. And between the Summon Elemental at level 8 and the big old Hailstorm Meteor Swarm, we're doing 263.6 damage on average, split between 2 creatures, which is very good. So yeah, that is it for today's video. That was a lot of spells. This is the 3rd video I've recorded this weekend, but this will be the first of the 3 that you see. Tune in tomorrow for something very exciting, and then on Wednesday for something also very exciting. Isn't that cool? Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe. Leave a comment on who it is you'd like me to build as well. I am taking suggestions, not mass suggestions, though those take 24 hours to do, and I have enough stuff to do as it is. I hope that you are well and continue to do well. I hope you are having a wonderful day and you have a wonderful week ahead of you, and I will see you hopefully tomorrow, but whenever it is I end up next seeing you. Until then, check out 2 of my other builds. We'll go for Spider Noir and He-Man. Why not? And I will see you next time. Goodbye.